This is Bernie Borges, host of the Social Business Engine podcast, and this is episode 136. This is a special episode of both Social Business Engine podcast and my weekly poolside sales chat. I am cheating a little bit. Normally I do the poolside sales chats on Friday afternoon, but I couldn't resist this beautiful pool right here at the Marriott in downtown Austin, Texas. I am joined live and in the flesh by D. Fish. I was going to say AKA David Fisher. David J.P. Fisher.
That works.
AKA D. Fish. And we are going to talk about something that I think is near and dear to anybody that's in B2B, and that's specifically how to use LinkedIn for status updates. Now I want to give you a little context because D-Fish and I, this guy right here, D-Fish and I, we recorded a webcast. It's about 40-45 minutes long, and the purpose of the webcast is to really provide kind of a fast-paced educational overview on how to use LinkedIn and how to use Twitter to grow your network and to fill your sales pipeline. It's really intended for B2B sales professionals. That webcast is available at our website at socialbusinessengine.com. Obviously, it's free. Just go to socialbusinessengine.com and you will find that webcast right there. Now, anybody that watches that webcast gets a digital copy of this book, Social Networking in the 21st Century.
Right there.
So what we're going to do in this podcast and in this poolside sales chat is we are going to dig into one of the chapters in this book, and we're going to focus on this one chapter. And this chapter, I don't care what the number is, but this chapter talks about general categories on how you can do LinkedIn status updates. So, you know, there's 9 in there, so I don't think we have time to go through all 9 of them. Let's
Probably not.
pick out 3 or 4 that are really kind of key.
Okay, absolutely. And one thing I think is important is you were talking about context. I do think something we cover a lot in the webinar, which or the webcast, which is great, is creating a good passive profile, right? You talk about having yourself look good for your audience. So make sure you're doing all the foundational stuff. But people ask all the time, you know, what do I say on social? What do I actually talk about? One of the things I like about having categories in our minds is that it takes a lot of the guesswork out of how to create status updates. We don't have to sit there and think.
So you mean categories of status updates, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Okay.
Yeah, so we don't have to think every day and start from scratch. What do I say? What do I post? So a couple of the ones that I think are the places to start for everybody. The first one is actually number 1 on the list. Talk about events that you're going to.
Okay. Like this event.
Like
this. We're attending Dell EMC World as we record this.
Absolutely. And if you're going to conferences, if you're going to conventions, you're going to meetings, definitely share that with your network. One thing I would suggest to you is don't feel that it has to be a big grand conference to put it out to social media. Like, it doesn't have to be that once or twice a year conference that you go to. It can be, I'm at a local Chamber of Commerce business meeting, or, you know, just had lunch with some of the business partners that I've developed over the last couple of years in my industry or in my area. You have to remember that people don't know what you're doing until you tell them.
Right.
I think a lot of times we feel maybe a little dirty or a little slimy, like thinking we're so important that we're telling people we're at, you know, in this case, Dell EMC World, and
hanging out by the pool.
Hanging out by the pool. But you're not trying to make yourself look cool. You're not trying to make other people jealous or kind of show off. What you're trying to do is give people a context for you.
And trying to create conversations too, D-Fish, you know, by sharing, like, you're at a conference.
Absolutely.
You know, and something about the conference. That creates the potential for some conversation around what you learned at the conference, who you met at the conference. And after all, LinkedIn is an online channel, right? So the opportunity to create conversations is something we always should be striving to do.
Absolutely. And in fact, not only are you creating conversation online, but you'll find that your network, even if they haven't seen you for a while, they'll say, hey, I saw that post.
Right.
I saw you're in Texas. I'm from Texas.
Yeah.
Or, you know, again, I've had people that I haven't seen for a year or two ask me about the different travels I've done, the speaking I've done, and how's that going. And if I would have never had that conversation with them, because we would have had to have started from scratch, right? But because they're seeing that my post is powerful, so make sure you're telling people what you're doing.
Okay.
Number 2, I was going to go into another one.
Yeah, go.
So another great category, and again, we're just pulling these right from the book, is one of my favorites. It's announce a project that you're starting or that you've finished.
I love that one. Yeah.
Now, especially in the sales world, when you have your successes, tell people about them. Don't brag, and don't humble brag, right? We all know that person who's like, oh, my life is so hard. I've just had to be a jet setter and talk to all these rich and famous people. We don't like that at all. But if you just closed a big deal, if you just helped a customer with a problem that they've had, tell other people about it.
Now, I like, at the beginning of that, you said if you just closed a big deal. Now, I probably wouldn't say I just closed a big deal, but I would say I'm proud to be helping this customer or a customer. I don't know that I'd name them either. Depends. It all depends.
It depends.
Right? But I'm proud to be helping this customer solve this problem.
Exactly. And that's what you're trying to do, is connect what you do to what your network might need. Right? Think about this. There's a passive prospect, a passive potential customer in your network right now that if they hear about you solving a problem that is similar to their problem, you've got a chance for them to reach out to you. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But if you don't say anything, you've got no chance whatsoever. And what we're trying to do is create all these little opportunities for connection. So again, it could be something you're starting off, right? Hey, we're just starting a project with so-and-so company that we actually been working on for 2 years with them, and we're moving forward. Or hey, we just completed it and they were happy. I love my job. I love being able to help people solve that problem of theirs. I mean, it's a feel-good thing.
Yeah.
It often makes the person you're talking about, the client that you just worked with, feel good.
And you know, the other thing, if you do that often enough, and like you said, you've got prospects that are online that can see that, and if you do that often enough, those prospects are seeing how you're helping other companies. And then when they have a need, because they may not have a need right now for your services, your products, then you could be top of mind because they've seen you share how you've helped those companies solve specific problems that now they're dealing with, and you're top of mind.
Exactly. I heard recently from somebody, and I totally forget who it was, but I'm not the originator of this. Social media is what gives people something to talk about between their conversations, right? So between that face-to-face meeting, social media keeps things going, and then when you have another face-to-face, you and I are a great example of that.
Yeah,
like I see where you're going on your conferences, you see where I'm going, and it's great when we're in the same city and we still can't meet each other. We were in Vegas a couple months ago, and at different conferences, and we couldn't meet up. But you got to let people know. The next one I wanted to talk about, just because I know we don't have a lot of time and we can't go through all of these. One that I think is really important is to remind people. One of the biggest challenges salespeople have is finding that balance point of being too much like the, hey, can you help me out? Can you help me out? Can you help me out? Too asking and not asking at all.
Okay.
One way to do this is think of this next category is telling people about myself and about how they can help me without directly saying it. And it's called asking or telling people what your ideal referral looks like.
Okay.
What your ideal contact looks like. And by the way, we can connect this with what we were just talking about, the successes we've had. So you might say, hey, just was able to work with this client, helping them solve X, Y, and Z. If you ever run across a person like that, let me know. Or, hey, I love working with people who are trying to figure out the Internet of Things, right? We're talking about that a lot here at this conference. You know, we have a solution that has been really effective. If you know somebody, would really appreciate a referral or an introduction.
I just want to remark on one thing, because I think some people, and I personally have struggled with this a little bit in terms of doing that ask, like, hey, this is what a good referral looks like for me. But I'm reminded, and we should remind people, that LinkedIn is for business networking. LinkedIn is about business. So if we're doing business every day and we have a business network on LinkedIn, then why not occasionally say, hey, here's the kind of company that I can help.
Yep.
Because you know what, if you send someone to me and I help them, that looks good for you.
Absolutely. And the word you used, which is important, is occasionally. There's that stereotype, for example, of the insurance salesman, who every time you see them is like, hey, do you want to talk about insurance? Can I help you? Can I sell you? Can I sell you?
Yeah.
If you're doing that, yeah, you're going to be obnoxious. But but if it's occasional, if it's peppered in among all of these different other categories, it actually becomes very natural, and your network will appreciate it. There's a lot of people who I like that are in my network that I would like to help them. I don't always know how, because I don't live in their world, but I'll see things that pop up and I go, oh wait, I can introduce them to somebody. Or, hey, I do come across, I had this happen the other day. It was actually not on LinkedIn, it was on Twitter, but somebody's like, I'm looking for, graphic designers because we have a tool that can help them out. I'm like, hey, I know a couple, and I could make that introduction.
Right.
But I would not have known that until the person said, we work with graphic designers.
Right.
So that's the next one.
Let's do one more, okay?
Yeah.
Let's do one more. Okay, we are,
All right.
DFish is dipping into the book.
The book.
Networking in the 21st century. What's the subtitle again?
Why your network sucks and what to do about it.
Oh man, I love that subtitle.
The last one I want to talk about is, again, going to this idea of giving through your status update. So it's totally okay for the asks, and I think most people forget that they can ask, but it's so valuable to give. We all know about posting links to news articles. That's great, that's an easy one. But I think another great approach is to look at ways to recommend the people in your network, right? So one of the things that I try to do, if I've had a great experience with a service provider, if I've had a great experience with a colleague, or let's say I've just watched a great webcast they did, or I read a great book, I will actually post out to my network, hey, I was just working with so-and-so, it was such a great experience. If you're looking for that, you should reach out, or even I'll introduce you to them. It makes people feel good.
So it's the pay it forward thing.
It's absolutely
just
the pay it
giving.
forward.
It's giving, and it's giving without really expecting anything in return.
Absolutely, and it's just the networking karma.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me to even sometimes talk about, because it's just so ingrained in the way the world works. If you help a lot of people, people will help you. It's not linear, right? It's not like a tit for tat kind of thing, but it does work, and it helps people out. So
treat people the way you want to be treated. Absolutely.
And you'd
the
be
golden
amazed.
rule of networking on LinkedIn.
Yeah. And by the way, it's the same golden rule as in the real
Life.
world.
Yeah. Life. Yeah. Because it is life.
So
All
look for ways, like if you're ever sitting there on a Thursday and you're like, gosh, I got to post something to LinkedIn. I can't think of what it should be.
Right.
Just go, who have I worked with in the last week or two? Or whose work have I been impressed with? Maybe it's even a colleague of yours who just has a great attitude, and on Mondays they're always happy. Say, I love working with so-and-so. Man, that little bit of goodwill will go a long way. You'll be very surprised.
I have another idea on how someone can think about what they should post on a status update on LinkedIn. They should just pull out the digital copy of your book, which they will get if they watch our webcast.
Yep.
So, of course, you can go buy it on Amazon and get the physical copy, like that physical copy right there.
Get it free.
But yeah, you can get it for free. Just watch our webcast that we recorded. So I think we're going to wrap the podcast right here. I just want to remind everybody that the webcast that I'm referring to, that DFish and I recorded, goes into more detail on both LinkedIn and Twitter on how to build your network and how to grow your network and how to build your sales pipeline, so you can take those digital touch points and take them offline into sales conversations that can help you grow your business. That webcast is available at socialbusinessengine.com. Just visit there. You'll see the button, click on the latest webcast, and it is right there. And again, you will get your free copy of the digital version of Networking in the 21st Century, Why Your Network Sucks and What You Can Do About it. DFish, thanks for joining me here today. Where do you want to send people to learn more about you?
If you want to find out more about me, davidjpfisher.com is my home on the web, at DFishRockstar on Twitter, or there's also the site called LinkedIn. So I've heard of always happy to talk to somebody. Feel free to reach out, shoot me a message there. Would love to connect. So
all right, fantastic.
Well, we'll be by the pool though.
Yeah. I'm so sweaty right now. I want to dive in this pool. Well, hey, that's going to do it for episode 136. I want to thank my guest, David J.P. Fisher, a.k.a. DFish, for joining me here today poolside at the JW Marriott in Austin, Texas, taking a little bit of a break from Dell EMC World. That's going to do it for episode 136. Until next time, tune in at Social Business Engine, where all our podcasts are. And until next time, I wish you continued sunshine, and don't forget to tune into Poolside Sales Chat this Friday and every Friday thereafter. This is Bernie Borges signing off. See ya.